seems like yet again, Clavicular has put himself into some serious hot water because the hands down, this guy is probably one of the most reckless streamers that I've seen in a long time. I mean, the dude has had a career for what, maybe a year now at the most, for the most part. And how many legal situations has he been into? And this one can easily become criminal, according to the attorney that I was talking to earlier today. So we have quite the situation. So there's like a handful of allegations. Some of it is going to be, he said, she said. The other half of it, what happened in Florida, actually happened on a live stream. So that doesn't look good whatsoever. All of it, actually, just to reiterate, all of it does not look good whatsoever. But half of the lawsuit actually happened on a live stream. So that's where we are today. So, and I guess I just have to make the quick disclaimer. A lawsuit has been filed. This is all alleged. We're just going through the allegations here. I opened the complaint here. I'm not going to pull the complaint onto the screen because there are some YouTube no-no words that I don't want to throw up there. And obviously, I don't want to leak any information that I don't want to leak. So, yeah, we're going to be going through this complaint. But this complaint starts off with Alexandra Mendoza. She is suing the defendant, Brandon Eric Peters, aka Clavicular, and she demands trial by jury on all issues. So this is an action for damages in excess of $50,000. So exclusive of interest, costs, attorney's fees, and minimal jurisdiction limits for this court. So plaintiff Alexandra, who's an individual who at the time of the event described below was a minor under Florida law. Mendoza is currently over 18 years old as of right now. Then you have defendant Brandon Eric Peters, aka Clavicular. He's an individual who at all material times resided in Florida and conducted business in Florida through social media monetization, live streaming, paid sponsorships, and commercial content creation. The defendant, Peters, is widely known online for Clavicular. And then she goes on to show his entire, his social media presence, like how many followers he has and so on and so on. And then they go on to explain what looks maxing is. And here he's claiming that across society, we should be advocating for looks. Someone can ascend from maybe slightly below average to above average through looks maxing, so they can achieve the desired amount of wealth for a supermodel to date them. Peters has also repeatedly claimed and bragged online about his use of illegal substances, including meth, ket, and so on, and a whole plethora of injectable medication that's available online. Peters has repeatedly bragged about his slay maxing, which means intercourse with women he meets through fame. I think this is the first time we've ever seen slay maxing mentioned in a lawsuit ever. There's a lot of firsts with this lawsuit because this is a crazy lawsuit that has a lot of crazy allegations and crazy words in it, to put it lightly. Like the next one. Peters refers to his one-night stands as pump and dumps. Okay, then. At all times relevant to this complaint, the plaintiff Mendoza was under 18 years old. At the time of filing this complaint, Mendoza is 18 years old. Plaintiff Mendoza comes from a troubled background. Beginning at age 16, Mendoza attempted to gain a social media presence in order to obtain sponsorships to financially support herself. As a part of her plan, Mendoza became known on social media as Alora or Alora Ziva. So in or about May 2025, when Mendoza was 16 years old, she was paid $1,000 by Peters to film videos. Peters told Mendoza that he wanted her to be the female face for looks maxing. Interesting. Peters assisted Mendoza by creating videos and writing the scripts for her. And after posting approximately 4 looks maxing videos for Peters, Mendoza and Peters were texting while Peters were in Cape Cod and Mendoza was in Massachusetts. Both are in Massachusetts, but okay. Peters offered to pay for an Uber to bring her to Cape Cod. She accepted, and She had never met Peters and thought meeting him would help her online presence, as Peters had promised. The Uber took Mendoza to Peters' parents' home. Peters' mother and grandmother were at the house. With his mother's full knowledge, excessive amounts of alcohol were being served. At this time, Peters was under the age of 21. Peters then escorted Mendoza to his bedroom, where a computer is set up for live streaming. Inside the bedroom, Peters served Mendoza multiple servings of vodka. Mendoza became inebriated and visibly intoxicated. Peters then had intercourse with her while she was knowingly intoxicated to the point where she was unable to give consent. That morning, while Mendoza was asleep, she woke up with Peters having intercourse with her, again without her consent. At this point, Mendoza did not know about Peters bragging about slaying girls and having one-night stands. Peters refers to this frequently as pumping and dumping. Awesome guy here. So, see, okay, and then they have like, so they're linking clips of all of his like phrases and words throughout this entire legal document. So there's a whole bunch of like TikTok links here. So after having, intercourse with Mendoza, Peter sent her off with an Uber. She did not see him again for another 6 months. So in November 2025, Mendoza went out with a group of friends in Miami for a networking event. She and her friends ran into Peters at a Brickell area, at a Brickell Avenue area. Peters commented about her physical appearance and he commented how her physical appearance had improved through looks maxing. Peters then invited Mendoza and her friends back to his place for a streaming session, telling Mendoza that she was ascending and he could continue to increase her online presence. Mendoza agreed since she was with her friends and believed they were going somewhere nearby. Once in Peters' car, a Tesla Cybertruck, unfortunately we're aware of that vehicle, Mendoza was shocked to find out that they were driving to Delray Beach. Delray is like a little over an hour north. They then stopped at a charging station where Peters and his friends snorted a white powdery substance, which they offered to Mendoza, who refused. Upon arriving to their destination, Peters attempted to kiss and seduce Mendoza. She rejected those, and then Peters continued to tell Mendoza that he could help her with her online presence, and took her into a bedroom where he began live streaming on the Kick.com platform. So sitting on the desk was apparently a vial of a medication called Aqualix, along with syringes. Peters told Mendoza that he wanted to inject her with this product to melt fat on her cheeks as a part of this promise, or as a part of his promise to help her with her online presence through looks maxing. This is so bizarre, but like just like the levels of how bizarre this lawsuit is just crazy. Like imagine telling anyone this 10 years ago, they would think you're insane. I mean, I feel like any normal person would read this now and they think it's insane, but like this is fringe of the fringe, but I guess it's becoming more and more mainstream, the use of all of these substances. I found out what Aqualix was today, but so apparently he's like, hey, baby girl, let me inject you with some research chemical and you can ascend. Yeah, I mean, dude, we live in some very weird times, to put it lightly. Okay, so, and I don't know if Aqualix is a research chemical or not, but I mean, it's apparently a fat dissolver. That's from what I can see about it. But obviously, I mean, he's not having her sign like liability waivers and consent forms to do this, and he's doing this on a live stream. When you go to any doctor's office, how many forms do you have to go through and sign just so the doctor can see you? A whole bunch. And obviously that is to legally protect the doctor's office and the doctor. What's going on here? Then on top of that, in Florida, you can't administrate Aqualix without being a medical professional. I think the minimal position you need to be is an RN. So he live streamed himself doing this. That's not good. So, okay. Moving on. Peters told her that he wanted to inject her with this product to melt fat off of her cheeks as a part of his promise to help her with her online presence through looks maxing. And again, this is someone who's under the age of 18. And someone's like, hey, let me melt the fat off your cheek. Like, that's so crazy. It's so gross. Ugh. Okay, so, and also just like for context as well, they're 2 years apart. So, like, I don't know. Regardless, this is going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. You have the first part is going to be a he said, she said. So the lawyers will be battling out everything. But this has already been live streamed. Obviously, they could probably say like, it was saline and it wasn't, something like that. But again, I don't know about the rules of injecting anything into someone. So, yeah, it's not good. Yeah, again, I see a bunch of people in the chat are pointing out, yes, this was all posted online when it happened. So this doesn't look good whatsoever. So during the session, Peters stated or implied that he was acting with medical authority, including by referring to himself as a doctor or otherwise holding himself as a qualified person to perform the injection. And the FDA has warned that fat-dissolving injections are not FDA approved and can be harmful. Peter was not a physician. Peter was not licensed to practice medicine in Florida, and Peters was not authorized to inject plaintiff with any medication, chemical, or fat-dissolving substance. Peters never notified Mendoza that he was not authorized or licensed to perform injections, and plaintiff did not provide legally valid consent for Peters to inject her. Plaintiff's parent or legal guardian did not consent to Peters injecting plaintiff, and Peters nevertheless prepared to inject plaintiff on camera during a live stream session that was streamed on kick.com. Peters then injected plaintiff multiple times in both cheeks with what he represented to be Aqualix. Peters did not explain to plaintiff that Aqualix was not approved by the FDA for injectable fat-dissolving use, or that fat-dissolving injections can be harmful. At the time of the injection, Mendoza was a minor under Florida law and could not receive any injections absent of parental consent. At the time of injection, Peters knew that Mendoza was a minor. As he commented online, she's still a minor, I'm 19. This entire episode was live streamed and remains available to be replayed on Kick and other websites. Let's see. So neither Peter nor Kick received Mendoza's permission to stream the session. The video shows that Peters had problems injecting Mendoza. In fact, Mendoza's right cheek had perforated. During the video, Peters stated or suggested, he suggested that meth had been added to the injection mixture. Yeah, crazy. Let's see. And I see people are commenting saying like, hey, is this civil or is this criminal? Currently, it's all civil. But with the lawyer I was talking to today, they were saying most likely this could easily become criminal because there's going to be a lot of news around this. There's going to be a lot of media attention on this. And obviously, he live streamed himself doing it. So it's like, he's not helping himself here, to put it lightly. So now, was he joking about mixing? I mean, who knows? But regardless, bad joke. So after the first injection, plaintiff appeared to be, I don't know if I can say that. I guess intoxicated on camera. Plaintiff believes that she may have been injected with what I was saying earlier, the Walter White special or another undisclosed substance. So during the entire stream, Peters, through the Kick platform, was receiving, processing, sharing, or financially benefiting from paid viewer engagement, including subscriptions, donations, tips, platform currency, or other monetized activity available through Kick's platform. After the session, Peters and Mendoza saw each other a handful of other times, including instances where Peters paid bouncers to let Mendoza into bars and purchased alcoholic drinks for her. And apparently she was underage during this time. Mendoza continued to believe that Peters was assisting her with her online presence. Some of these encounters were streamed on Kick and the website. The platform and the website. Okay. I saw a lot of people also were sharing clips of her, I guess, talking a day or two after all this happened, saying that, oh, it was chill. But the problem is, again, she's not, or well, number one, she was underage, so she can't actually legally give consent to be injected with anything. And it's not like, again, she wasn't signing liability waivers nor consent forms, to put it lightly. So that video, I mean, might help him with public perception, but it's not going to help him in court. That's for sure. In early 2026, Mendoza signed a contract paying her $15,000 a month as a social media promoter for an online trading platform. She continued to be under the incorrect assumption that Peters was helping her career. However, around this time, Peters began a campaign to discredit Mendoza. Because of Peters' enormous following and popularity online, Mendoza lost her partnerships. Upon information and beliefs, Peters' campaign to discredit Plaintiff was undertaken in anticipation of Plaintiff asserting claims arising from the livestream injection and related misconduct. So, the counts here are battery by Brandon or Clavicular. Count 2 is intentional inflection of emotional distress. Count 3 is fraud by him. Count 4 would be unauthorized publication of name and likeliness. And for all this, Alexandra demands injunctive relief and judgment against the defendant, Brandon Eric Peters, for all damages available by statute and cost, and all other relief of the court deems just and proper, and further demands a trial by jury. So, yeah, I mean, this will definitely be interesting to see how it all goes down. I think they did make a response. Let's see. I'm trying to find the response right now. Legal team did respond. Okay, so Clavicular's legal response said, "We are aware of the complaint recently filed against Mr. Peters. These are allegations only and remain unproven. Mr. Peters denies the claims and disputes the characterization of the events. He will respond through an appropriate legal channels and intends to vigorously defend himself. We will not comment further at this time." So again, I mean, this guy has all the money in the world for attorneys. It'll definitely be interesting to see how all of this battles out. The real interesting thing to see how it all plays out is the portion of it that was live streamed. So yeah, I mean, this is just so messed up. It's a very messed up situation. And I wanted to go through the complaint with you guys live, and I'll probably make a full video on this later on. So yeah. Oh, also, let's see. No, I think that's it for right now, and I'll make a full video on this in a bit. Thank you guys all for the support, and I'll see you guys in a video that I'm posting in, like, I don't know,